Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we have another Sinn versus Damasko video. So on the left we have the Sinn 556i, and on the right we have the Damasko DB5, but I'm probably going to label the video Damasko DA36. This is essentially a Damasko DA36, but it's a special edition of that watch. So it has the patinaed Lume on the hands and the indices, also the logo and the day and date as well. But it's essentially a DA36, just with some different features. So also the numbers are loomed on this, and they're not loomed on the DA36. So anyway, before we get into more of the watches, let's just take a quick look at the boxes that they come in. This is the Sinn box. That's a leather covered, I don't know, wood or plastic box, not really sure, but nice leather on the inside, labeled up there, and the watch goes on this piece of metal or whatever this is, covered in leather. Then the Damasko box, I think, is a little nicer. It's lacquered wood, leather on the inside, the Damasko label up there, and a little leather cushion. So let's get the boxes out of the way and we can focus on the watches. My previous video is probably a little better of a comparison. That was the Damasko DS30. That watch is 39mm, and this one here is 40. So the Sinn 556 is stainless steel with this satin finish. In the Damasko DB5 has the ice hardened steel. So let's take a look at these side by side here so you can see the color difference in the cases. I really appreciate the ice hardened finish on these Damaskos. I like the look, the color, and especially the scratch protection. You can see a little bit of scuffs on this watch here. This one was lent in by Art. I'm not sure how much he wore this watch. I mean, he could have worn it every day for a year. I really don't know, but it does have a little bit of scuffs on it. But that's fine. This watch it's a very nice watch. I quite like this watch, and I'm sure the new owner will be happy with it. I really like the dial on this. It's just a plain black and white dial, but it is a really captivating black dial. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks like a black polished finished or something. It's very neat. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. If you look at this black dial compared to the black dial on the Damasko, you may not be able to see the difference in the camera here, but I like the dial on the Sinn a little better than the Damasko. It's hard to capture on camera, but this is more of a matte finish, and this is more of a glossy finish. So let me shine a flashlight on here. Just have a little one in my pocket, but let's see if that'll make any difference in the video here. Yeah, I don't know. So let's go on to the specs here. So the Sinn 556i on bracelet, the current price now, the prices have gone up, and actually prices have gone up on Damasko also. Not sure if it's a German watch thing or just watches across the board. But anyway, this one is $1,510 on the bracelet, and on the leather strap it is, I believe it's $1,340. Yes, so $1,340 on the leather strap. Sorry, and the Damasko DA36 on leather strap. It's a black leather strap with white stitching, and that has a black dial with white indices and hands. The DA36 is $1,150. So about $200 less than the Sinn 556i on bracelet. And this special edition here is $1,280. So let's go over the size comparison. I'll hold these side by side so you can see the lug to lug. Lug to lug on the Sinn is 45.5, and on the Damasko on my right hand it is 48.5, so 3 millimeters taller. And then the case size, as I mentioned earlier, on the Damasko is 40 versus 38.5 on the Sinn. The dial is, of course, larger on the Damasko. It has to do with, obviously, the case size, but also I think the bezel may be slightly smaller. Maybe not. It's hard to say, hard to tell. And the other specification here is the thickness. The Sinn is 11.2 millimeter thick versus 12.2 on the DB5 / DA36. I was a little surprised on the thickness of this. The DS30 is 10.1 millimeter thick, and they have the same movements. So not sure why the difference in the thickness. But anyway, crown size on this is 6.4, and on the Sinn it's 6 millimeter. Yeah, you can kind of see that there a little bit. They do both have signed crowns, by the way. And the lug width on both of these is 20. I think on the Sinn it's perfectly proportioned. The Damasko, it's not too bad, but I think the strap is hiding some of that. If it didn't have the protrusion here on the leather strap, I think it would look funny with the 20 millimeter lug width versus the 40 millimeter case, but it's not that bad. I have other watches that are even larger with the 20 millimeter lug width, and that looks kind of strange. So we'll do a Lume shot after the wrist shots here. If you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Like the video, leave a comment. Let me know which of these two you would choose. You can get the Damasko on a bracelet as well. I don't really care for the Damasko bracelet. It is ice. You can get it with the ice hardened treatment, but it has a butterfly clasp, and I'm just not a fan of butterfly clasp. But that bracelet is a $700 bracelet, so it is quite pricey, considering it's actually more than half the price of the watch on the strap. Again, the DA36 is $1,150. I think that's the main differences between these. Well, the DA36, I have to move the hands out of the way. It does have the day and the date. They both have the same movement. The ETA 2824. Let the second hand move out of the way there. I like this offset day and date. It's a little different of a complication. I'll bring my SKX over here so you can see. Remove the hands. So I think the Damasko is a little more complicated with the offset date below the 3 o'clock position there. Also, you can get it, you can do English or German. Let's figure the right way. That's the wrong way. That's the date set. And then turn it down for the day set, for the day. I don't know my days in German, but those look like German abbreviations there. But you can kind of see what they did there to get the date offset when I go ahead and advance this. So I'll show that compared to the Seiko. Sorry, I'm getting off a little track here. A little off track here. So watch how that day changes. So anyway, let me get these on wrist and we'll do the Lume shot and we'll close the video out. This is such a cool watch. Both of these are very cool watches, but I'm a big fan of German watches. You can see it's displayed on the dial there. Made in Germany. And made in Germany. Well, since we're here, let's take a look at the case back. The DA36 or DB5, whatever. It's a solid case back. Both of these watches are anti-magnetic. They're both shock proof. That's what that is there in German. 200 meter water resistant, screw down crown, sapphire crystal. You name it, this has it on here. So this is stainless steel, but this has the hardness here, the 60 HRC. So, very cool watch with very cool technology. Let me screw this in. And I'll show you the case back on the Sinn. It has a display case back. This is also anti-magnetic. It says right here. Anti-magnetic. And there's that word again for shockproof. So it's a nicely done movement. I really like that gold rotor with the Sinn on there. It has enough decoration. It's not overly decorated. As I mentioned in my previous video with this Sinn, my only real issue with this watch is the clasp and the dive extension. I don't understand why this has a dive extension on it. It's not a dive watch. I'd rather get rid of this dive extension and give me a couple more micro adjusts and give me a clasp with some dual deployment pushers on here. Not just this. It's just kind of, I feel it's kind of cheap for the price of this watch. But they're sold out, so they've obviously priced it just right. So let's get this on wrist. I do like this bracelet otherwise. It's a nice H-link bracelet. Screwed link, so it's easy enough to change it. I have a 6.5 inch wrist with a 52 millimeter wristband. Again, this is 38.5 by 45.5, so it's just a perfect size watch for my wrist. I could see myself just wearing it for years without ever taking it off. With a suit, you know, hiking, working on cars, whatever. Just wear it and just keep it on and just forget about it. This thing will last you a long time. I'm sure you could hand this down for generations. So, anyway. That's the drilled lugs as well. Very nice watch. And the Damasko, the same thing. I mean, with this ice hardening on here, you could just beat the snot out of it. It's not as much of a dress watch as that one there. If it had just the stick indices, I think it'd be fine. You could dress it up with a little more dressy strap or dress it down, put it on a NATO, whatever you want to do. Oh, let's put it on wrist. We'll do the zoomed out shot first. I am usually a fan of watches on bracelets. But like I said, I don't like this Damasko bracelet. The Sinn bracelet is okay. But the Damasko ice hardened bracelet has the butterfly clasp. So yeah, this one is a bit larger on my wrist. This is 40 by 48.5. think it still looks okay for my smaller wrist. Maybe slightly big. If it had a die bezel on it, it would be just right. So here we are, zoomed in a little bit more. So this one has the blue second hand. The DA36 has a white. All three hands are white. So, all right. You set up the Lume shot and I'll be right back. I have not seen the Lume on this yet, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, so on the left, we have the Sinn 556i, which I'm sure you could probably tell. In the middle, we have the Damasko. And on the right, I threw in my SKX 009, which isn't running at the moment, but it will suffice for the Lume shot here. I was surprised the Damasko has the greenish color Lume. I was assuming it was going to be more of a blue color like the Sinn, but they have both died down fairly quickly, seeing as how I just blasted it with my UV light. It doesn't look quite as bright by eye as it does on video, but as far as the brightness, I would give it to the Damasko over the Sinn, and then the SKX is the brightest, but I think the hands on the Damasko are slightly brighter than the SKX. But the Lume on all of these is very good. I have no complaints about the Lume. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.